Welcome to the Astoria Film Festival Step and Repeat interviews. Today we're speaking with Isabella Saban, whose film Baka appears in our 2020 festival. Tell us about yourself, your background, and what led you to make your film.
Okay. My name is Bella. I'm 17 years old, and my background, I don't know. I'm from Queens. And
You're currently a film student at
film student at Frank Sinatra School of the Arts. I have been doing film since I was in 6th grade, so like about 11. And then transferred from middle school to high school, and then started the film program at Frank Sinatra. I mainly am mostly interested in portrait documentary making. I've made a couple portrait documentaries, one being Baka, about my grandmother. I had the idea mainly because I was like extremely busy at the time, and I really wanted to make a documentary because I've like up into that point I've only made a couple, but I've never actually made a portrait documentary. And I was like really fascinated by like kids in my class or like other film students that I knew making portrait documentaries, and I really liked how they captured so much over one person, but also like how they told a separate story about themselves by capturing another person in a film. And I wanted the opportunity to do that. So because I was so busy, what kind of like just happened was I was able to spend time with my grandmother on the weekends. So that's kind of how it happened. And it was not only did I get to make a film about my grandmother, but it was also just a good opportunity to like hang out with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I think it's going to be invaluable to you in the coming years. Like, you know, I've lost most of my family, not to be morbid, and I wish to God I'd done that with each and every one of them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a beautiful thing to have. So I think you will cherish that for years to come. You really do.
Yeah. And like, I already thought we were close, like me and my grandmother, like going into it, but like after that, now we're like even closer. And I didn't realize how much closer we could get just from me like hanging out with her on the weekends for a couple weeks and like filming her. Yeah.
And also being interested in her past. You know, I mean, so many older people want to talk about themselves and most younger people don't want to listen. So to have someone who not only wants to listen but wants to record it and share it with the world, that's, you know, that's something. That means a lot.
Exactly. I just feel like I also wanted to like I guess show other people, but also show myself, because a lot of times like I feel like I learn about myself by physically making things like this, or like showing, like visually showing myself. I wanted to just like make something that like kind of symbolizes our relationship, because how I usually like think of our relationship is all these stories that she would tell that, I mean, most old people are like this. They tell all these stories that you can just repeat them back to them at one point. But like she seems so like utterly interested in like her own past, but like and it's just like fascinating to me like how fascinated she is in herself. And I was like, I just think this is so entertaining, but also like heartwarming to watch, like an old person tell these stories like it's a movie that they watched. And that's another thing, like it's also like the stories that they're telling in like that point in time reflect so much of like what's going on in their life now. Like there'd be like a couple years where my grandmother would tell these very specific stories, and now she doesn't tell them anymore, but she tells this whole new set of stories. And it just like it reflects like what's going on in her mind, even though they're not recent stories. Like it just it very much like is parallel to like her life now. How much things have changed, just our even like our ability to like retain information is so different. It's like even if it's like this little film, it's just like it even just captures just like this one generation of like how they can retell their stories. Like I don't even want to know how I'm going to be retelling my stories when I'm older.
So what are you up to these days?
I've been mostly watching movies. I don't know. I've been trying to like get a new idea because I wanted to make a new film, but I don't know. I've been trying to like, I've been writing a lot, just like writing things that I find funny, because it's usually how like I get my ideas. Because I originally just think my grandmother's a very funny person, so that's originally why I made it.
And she is, by the way, just for
Yeah, yeah. um, and that's also like why I made my documentary about my brother, because he just does things that I think are funny. So I've been trying to write down things that I think are funny. I wanted to make a self-portrait documentary just because I like see all my portrait documentaries as like self-portraits of myself, even though they're about other people. I feel like at least in the way I edit them, like reflect even just a small part of like how I think. So I
absolutely.
wanted to do that, and I started like researching like self-portraits, not just with film, but also with other mediums like art, media, like fine art and like paintings, to see like how that would reflect in a film. But that's all I've been up to lately.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty impressive.
Thank you.
And also school and life, and
Yeah,
your posse, your film posse is back
my
together.
my film posse is back together. Yeah, I mean they've just started shooting again, getting back into it. Yeah.
What are they working on?
Um, I
Or
know
tell us
that.
about your film posse and what they're working
Yeah,
on.
I'll tell you. Okay, so my film posse, our very small production company. Sorry if it's loud. There's like a lawnmower outside.
I don't hear it. Honestly, there's always lawnmowers in back of me, so
Yeah. Um, so my film posse, which is my small production company, Night of Oni Productions, which is with my three friends, Hudson, Alex, and Ixchel. And before quarantine, before the pandemic, really like shut things down, Hudson was working on his production for Friday, which he was like halfway through production. So over the past 2 weeks, he's been getting back into reshooting scenes, um, editing around it. That's really all we've been up to. Not slowly getting back into it.
and so tell us a little about what type of films did you make when you were 11? Like I
When I
want to
was
hear more.
11, okay, so my first film was a silent film. It was called, I don't even know what it was called. I think it had like 3 title changes maybe. It started off as a film about kids skipping school, I think. And then it ended up being a film about bullying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they could have been skipping school because they felt threatened by bullies.
Yeah, I think originally it was that they just didn't want to see their teachers, but then the footage kind of like told a different story. So it ended up being that they felt threatened by bullies, and yeah.
That's great though. Like it's actually a full narrative for,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
at 11.
At 11, yes. I made a documentary when I was 11 too. It was about the custodial staff at my middle school. It was
Oh, that's
called
so cute.
Keeping Up with the Custodians. Yeah.
Brilliant. Where can people find you? Instagram handle, website, stuff like that.
At Bella Saban. Yeah, I think that's at all my handles. It's just at Bella Saban. Saban, Saban.
I'll put a
Yeah.
little
Yes.
thingy. And anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up? About
Stay safe, wear a mask. Stay home if you can. I feel like that's the overall message for everything right now.